All right, guys, we got some things to talk about. We got some stuff to discuss, in which this just got dropped, and I definitely got some thoughts.
I want some nasty. Are we having fun yet?
All right, so before we get started, big shout out to Louise here for actually sending this to me. I tell you guys this all the time. If there's anything that you want me to discuss and you want us to talk about on the channel, just send it over to me, man. You can just tag me exactly how he did here. He said, Clan the Spurs fan, you might want to look more into this, or you can send me a direct message and I'll take a look. But nonetheless, my DMs are open. I'm out here, so if you guys are interested in anything, just send it over. If I find it interesting, I'll talk about it. Now, this I actually also got this notification, and I have some thoughts about it. Okay, so it says here there's speculation that San Antonio is possibly exploring trading up to number one, in which they would get rid of their 2 first-round picks, so that fourth and that eighth, and this is conjecture, but they could possibly be looking for the Spurs getting Zachary Risachet to pair with Wemby, or Alex Sarr to pair with Wemby, all according to Jonathan Givony. Now, let me say this, okay? And I'm gonna do 2 different angles, okay? I'm gonna first take the angle of I don't necessarily believe this, and might be a little bit accusatory, but then I'm going to be a little bit more charitable and just make the assumption that this is true, and then I'll tell you how I feel about that. So first and foremost, there's been a lot of speculation around that Jonathan Givony could possibly be in communication with Risachet's agent, in which he would be getting paid or whatever that might look like. Now, you guys already know this happens all the time with beat writers or people that are draft analysts, in which they will get paid from the specific players' agents, and then they will pump up those players tremendously. Now, me going from the uncharitable angle first, Givony has been really adamant about Risachet, to the point where it's been a little bit of parody at this point, because everything that we've seen, and we've gone over so many different things, and everything I've heard as well, is it seems like scouts are not as high on Risachet as Givony is, and he's basically the only one that's putting forward these narratives that he could possibly be a number 1 pick. Now, the number 2 pick, I think that actually is true. There's enough information out there saying that, yeah, the Washington Wizards could possibly take him. But he's been adamant that he could be one, or he should be that high. And I don't think that that's the case. And another reason why I think that that's a little crazy is the fact that there's been so many scouts that also have disagreed with that completely, that they don't really see what a lot of other people see. He getting comparisons to Danny Green, which, me personally, I think that that's kind of his ceiling, which is a really good ceiling, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if that's a top 2, top 3 pick ceiling, right? And also he's been blocking, or Givony has blocked people that's come out that said, hey, I believe that Risachet is not a top 2 pick, top 3 pick. I think that's ridiculous. He's been blocking those people. Some of them could have been a little bit more rude than others, but it seems like he's definitely got tunnel vision, okay, when it pertains to Risachet. It's kind of strange. And I would not be surprised if something like that was happening, where he was getting, paid to pump up this player, because everybody has been against this basically, other than Givony. Now, with that being said, okay, this is the most charitable angle. Let's just say none of that is true. Take it with a grain of salt. I mean, obviously, there's no proof of that right now. This happens all the time, but there's no proof of it. So let's just say that this is true, okay? So let's say the Spurs are looking to trade up for Risachet. Now, Alex Sarr, I get it. I understand it. I wouldn't trade my 2 picks for Alex Sarr, but I guess I get it. But Risachet, I think, is absolutely ridiculous. So you guys know I'm higher on Ron Holland, I'm higher on Castle, and I'm higher on Buzelis. But if I'm just looking at Holland and Buzelis and comparing them to Risachet, the only thing that Risachet does better, in my opinion, than those two is shoot. I think he's a pretty good shooter. But when the ball is on the court, when the ball is dribbling, he's not that good. He's not that great of creating his own shot. He's not that great at finishing. As far as defense, he's pretty decent, but he's nowhere near the level of Ron Holland. I would say that he is close to like Modest Buzelis. I would say those two are pretty close in terms of defense. But then when I look at Modest Buzelis, I think that he's a better scorer. I think that he is a better playmaker, right? I think he's craftier than Risacher. And I don't think that Risacher has really a frame to even come close to Holland. And defensively, it's I don't want to be mean here, but there is a huge gap between Risacher and Holland when it pertains to defense. Holland has so much more versatility as far as who he can guard. He utilizes his size very well. He has a better frame. I don't see it. Okay, I don't see it. The Spurs, in my opinion, if they were to trade their 4th and their 8th to get Risacher, I think that would be a terrible idea. I think that would be a terrible pick. Now, what I could see, and this has already been kind of out there, I could see them trading their 8th and maybe a future pick with Chicago pick and maybe another, and trying their best to package something in which they would get Darius Garland or somebody like that. But I don't see the Spurs, especially in this draft. I don't think it's necessary, right? In my opinion, I think the best prospect right now is Ron Holland in this upcoming draft, and I don't think that you have it, or it's risky that you'll miss him at 4. I don't think that that'll be the case. He more than likely will fall at 4, but worst case scenario, I mean, we're looking at Castle, we're looking at Dilly, Buzella. I just don't see why you would get rid of those 2 picks for Risacher. I could think of some other reasons why, but not Risacher. Alex Sarr, possibly. I could see that. Now, when Alex Sarr faced up against Holland put on a show. But, I can see it. I can see it. So those are kind of my thoughts. If the Spurs were to do this, I think it'll be a huge mistake. If there's any truth to this, which I don't think it is, but if there's any truth to this, I think that this would be a terrible idea. But honestly, guys, Javonte has been throwing so much out till it's hard for me to just get with everything that he's been saying now. It's getting a little crazy. And Risacher coming up from him way more than anyone else, way more than the scouts, way more than any other beat writers. It comes across a little strange to me, just a tad bit strange. That doesn't mean don't listen to anything that he has to say. I've read quite a few of his assessments of Risacher, and it's not wrong. Like I agree with them at least. But overall, I think that this would be a bad mistake, right? A bad mistake. So, anyways, those are my thoughts. You guys let me know what you think. Would you want to trade your 2 picks up for Alex Sarr or Risacher? I don't think it's worth it. That's just me. I think that there's some better options or better ways to use those picks. If you're not going to use them, there's some better ways that you can go about this than doing that. But anyways, I'll get with you guys later. Till next time. Bye.